Hello everybody, thank you for joining us again this week for our Nature Storytime. All of next week, starting on Sunday, is International Dark Sky Week. So that week-long celebration of the night was started by an organization called International Dark Sky Association, and that's going to be the theme for our story time this week, is dark skies and astronomy. We, as people, use a lot of lights. You can see even in here I have a lot of lights. But as our population of people grows, we've used a lot of lights all over the world. And when we're not careful about how we're using that lights, how many lights we have, when they're on, what direction they're pointing, and things like that, our lights can actually really disrupt a lot of wildlife. They can impact our human health if they're affecting our sleep. They can waste money and energy. And when we waste energy, that can lead to climate change problems. And they can also block our view, right, of the universe or of the night sky. So this whole next week is dedicated to celebrating the night sky, celebrating the dark, celebrating the stars and the moon, and I'll be sharing more resources about that. The International Dark Sky Association also has a Facebook page. They are doing all virtual celebration events next week, so there are story times, there's crafts, there's astronomy lessons, there's all sorts of really cool stuff going on, so make sure to check out their page too. So let's go ahead and get started on our two stories that we have today. The first one is called There Once Was a Sky Full of Stars, words by Bob Crelin and pictures by Amy Ziner. This book's going to explain to us why we used to be able to see more stars than we can see typically today. There once was a sky full of stars. This chair is really not that great for story time. There once was a sky full of stars, before lighting the roadways for cars. The worlds far away would come out to play, like Jupiter, Venus, or Mars. The Milky Way stretched overhead, once the sun had retired to bed. Its soft cotton glow, like a river of snow, looked so close it could tickle your head. Have any of you ever seen the Milky Way in the sky above? It's like a river of stars running through the sky. Deep, deep out into space, your eyes could look on to no end. At the edge of your sight, a galaxy's light that took 2 million light years to send. So the lights that our stars are making takes a really long time for that light to get here and reach our eyes. The magical moon would light up a room and turn yards into dreamlands below. Above where you are, a bright shooting star, bursting quick in a bright bluish glow. So why are these wonders now hidden from sight? And where did they all seem to go? And what hides the twinkling starlight we seek in a sky full of pink-orange glow? What do you think? Why can't we see as many stars as we used to be able to see hundreds of years ago? What are humans making? Lights, lights, billions of lights that are shining up this way and that, lighting up flagpoles and buildings and signs and treetops and belfries and bats. And the universe fades on away if we turn all our nights into day. Some children won't care to look up in the air. Those stars are just stories, they'll say. And what of our animal friends? On the night, their survival depends. Darkness tells them to sleep, when to hunt, when to eat. Without dark, the one life they know ends. So a lot of our animals rely on the sun and the moon and the stars to get clues about when to do things or which way to go. And not being able to see those things can really mess up our animals' routines. And the trees may not know when it's fall, full of leaves when the winter winds call. Although people can change when the world's rearranged, Mother Nature might falter and stall. So it looks like the lights kind of roofing up these trees. But our sky full of stars that we've hidden from sight will once again truly be found, when the glaring and blaring of each upward light is turned downward to shine on the ground. Then the Milky Way once again shines over star-freckled skylines divine, and the nights will be dark in each forest and park, just as in Mother Nature's design. Yes, you and I, we can save the night sky. The answer is simple and clear. When we turn down the lights that have faded our nights, by the thousands the stars reappear. Ooh, I don't know if you can see it. He's actually wearing an International Dark Skies t-shirt. So welcome the twilight with wide open eyes under heavens unspoiled by light. On our tiny blue world we will sail the deep skies as we dance with the stars in the night. So hopefully you get outside next week to see how bright our night sky can be when we shut off our lights and go outside to admire the skies up above. So it doesn't actually name what's going on in this book, but we call that light pollution. When we have so many lights, it blocks out our view of the night sky. And like we mentioned before, it can really affect our wildlife, even humans' health, energy, and the climate, things like that. So it's something to think about. Are your lights on at night? Do you have any really bright lights on in your yard that maybe you don't need on? And can you help us reduce light pollution, especially next week during Dark Sky Week? Try to shut off all those lights in your yard. Second book we have today for story time is all about the moon. So next week on Tuesday is what we call the new moon. So if we were to go outside, it's going to look like there's no moon up in the sky. It's going to be completely dark without that light from the moon. And we always have International Dark Sky Week during a week of the new moon because it is so much darker out. Sometimes when we have a full moon and it's so bright and it has a lot of light, that can actually block out our view of this of the stars in the night sky. So International Dark Sky Week is always on a new moon week. And to explain a little bit more about the phases of the moon and why it kind of comes and goes and gets bigger and smaller, we're going to read a book called Hello, Mr. Moon, written by Lorna Gutierrez, and the illustrations are by Laura Watkins. Hello, Mr. Moon. You're looking full today. Unlike before, you were wasting away. Are you taking care of yourself? You're up, you're down. Why so skinny and then so round? Relax, little child. You will see. Things happen that make me, me. It takes 1 year for Earth to get around the sun, 365 days, and its job is done. Once a month, I orbit too, but not around the sun, just around you. So it takes 1 month for the moon to go around the Earth. I'm lit by the sun, that's why I seem bright. You're seeing my sunlit side at night. The movement of the Earth, sun, and me cause different phases. That's what you see. But sometimes you're not there. Where do you go? You disappear. Sunlight is behind me. It's called my new moon. It means you can't see me, but you will soon. Some of our animals don't mind because, like our bats that hunt with echolocation, they don't need a lot of light because they don't use their eyes to find food. So they can still hunt even when it's very dark outside. I must admit, I enjoy less light. It's easier for me to sneak around at night. A sliver of light shows my crescent moon lit. The sunlight on me is only a bit. So the sun illuminates just this part of the moon. The rest is still dark. Half bright, Mr. Moon, is something to see. You're black and white, just like me. That's the badger. That's my quarter moon, though some call it half. See how I change as I follow my path? Close to full, you shimmer and shine, reflecting on my ocean in a way that's so fine. Now I'm gibbous, nearly all bright. see my glimmer on your waters tonight. So just this part of the moon is dark, and the sun is making the rest of this part glow. We call this a gibbous moon. Your light is so peaceful, it's really quite nice, shining brightly as I look for mice. Full is my glory, all eyes are on me. I'm completely lit and easy to see. I like to play, and heard you do too. What exactly do you do? Yes, little cat, I do have some tricks, like my brilliant red lunar eclipse. Thanks, Mr. Moon. We know you care. Even if we can't see you, you are still there. So we went from the new moon, where we couldn't see any of the moon and the stars are really bright, to our crescent moon, and then to the quarter moon, where it's about half lit up, to the gibbous moon, and all the way to the full moon, where the moonlight is really bright, and some of our stars might start to fade away or not look so bright because the moon is kind of overpowering them. From here, it takes 2 weeks to get from a new moon to a full moon, and then 2 weeks to get back down. So we'll start going the other way, and this side of the moon would be lit up. So this half would be lit up, and this side would be dark. A crescent on this side, and then back to normal. Now nighttime is over, and it's almost day. It's time for other animals to come out and play. But remember, just look up, and I'll look down, and know I'll always be around. The end. So those were our 2 stories for Storytime this week. Again, I'll post some resources in the comments down below about stars and the moon, and then a link to the International Dark Sky Association as well. So if you want to participate in any of their virtual events next week, please do so. It should be a really fun week. I know it's going to be probably still a little chilly next week, but it can be really fun still to bring out a big pile of blankets and a thermos of hot chocolate and spend the night together as a family watching the stars. So thanks for listening to Storytime this week. We hope to see you next Wednesday, which is Earth Day. So we'll have another really special Storytime planned then. See you later.